Here again. Welcome. We're on Friday. We're officially into May. This is super exciting, and I feel like 2020 is about 12 months long already. How about you? I want to introduce you to a very special guest today, Dr. Lipscomb. Say hello.
Hey, how are you?
Doing so awesome. I'm super excited that it's Friday. The world is kind of growing in a different direction. We're moving along, right?
Yeah, it's the new normal of the new normal of the new normal.
Yeah, exactly. And the new normal keeps changing to a newer normal, and then we just kind of adapt to that. So you're a dentist. You're located in Virginia. Give our followers some information about you.
Well, my name's Jason Lipscomb. Sometimes I'm called J Lips for short. Hopefully my kids aren't too loud in the background here. I've got 3 practices in Virginia. I am a glutton for punishment. Yeah, I enjoy spending time in my dental practices and with my family. And I also have a podcast called the Dental Hacks Podcast. Yeah, and like to stir it up on Facebook.
Yeah. Don't we all? Just kidding. So in Virginia, are you allowed to treat patients again? Are you back in the office?
I am. Sorry, I had a little bit of glare there. I am. We started back this past Friday. There's been a lot of back and forth with our governor. We had it extended out a week beyond what we thought it was going to be. But finally Friday, they relented and let us back to work. For most of the elective stuff, it's still a little bit different. We're still kind of up in the air because I think OSHA and the CDC are still saying that we should only be treating emergencies, yet the governor says the other thing. So I'm going with the governor for now, from what I can tell.
Okay, so you've got 3 offices. You started last Friday. Have you been to all 3 of them yet?
I have, yeah. I had 1 associate. 3 offices is not as grand as it sounds. But I had 1 associate that was working with me, and she's not coming back right now just for fear of everything. So I'm kind of traveling between the 3 of them and have been to all 3. So I got to assemble sneeze guards for all 3 offices. It's been a lot of fun.
So that was going to be my next question. You have 3 offices, which means we all know the PPE has completely changed, or protocols have completely changed. For everybody who's watching, Ultradent's located in Utah. I'm located in Utah. We are also back this week.
Nice.
So we also have the sneeze guards. I've seen a lot of people doing different things of how they've gotten them. What are you guys doing in Virginia?
There's nothing really mandated as far as like sneeze guards and some of this other stuff. We have increased our PPE. We are all wearing face shields. We have K95 masks because the N95 masks are super hard to get. I may actually switch back, since I'm the owner and I can kind of do what I want. I may actually switch to wearing the Class 3 masks because I just cannot breathe in those K95 masks. So I've been wearing a face shield, K95 mask, Class 1 mask over top of that, and disposable gowns, changing pretty much every time I go in between patients. I have 3 or 4 sets of gowns that I'll change into to do a hygiene check, one to do whatever I'm doing. So yeah, it's a nice little dance that we've tried to figure out for ourselves as compared to what we used to do in the past, not too long ago.
Yeah, your schedule, I'm gonna assume, please correct me if I'm wrong, has slowed down a lot. Is that right?
Oh yeah. We first wanted to just see what it was going to be like. So we really slowed our first schedule down just to experiment with it and kind of see what was going to happen. Didn't want to go full blast and have people upset or cut corners. So right now we have probably 30-40 minutes between hygiene patients. My wife is my hygienist right now, so I have the luxury of having somebody that is kind of a captive audience to us, but just getting used to it, and a lot of it was psychological, being away. Obviously, we're so used to being in there and going and doing, and then when it shuts off, that's when I think the fear creeps in of what this new stuff is going to be. So it's been actually a relief to be back in and doing it and experiencing it, and then kind of get into that routine. So it's not as bad as I thought, but it's still quite a bit different.
Right, different, and then you can't breathe with the K95 masks. That's what you said, right? And then
Correct.
I know that you're putting like the class 3 over on top of that. We had a live seminar that is now on demand that you can find in our feed if you kind of scroll down on Ultradent Products. And they even talked about like tips and tricks of how to save those masks and to do like your K95, put it in a Ziploc baggie. That's your Monday mask.
Yep.
Leave it for Mondays. Then you have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all of those different days, just to try and help not have to get even more because they're so hard to find. Where are you finding all of your like PPE from?
I started, when this first started, I kind of ordered some. To be honest, I didn't even really know what a K95 mask or N95 mask was 3 months ago. If you had asked me, I would have never really crossed my mind. So once this started, I kind of started putting in some orders. Recently, I had found some companies. A lot of dentists have just been scrambling all over the internet, just trying to find stuff and kind of finding wherever you're finding it. Some people are just hitting the timing right on different companies, which I did. I've now secured, I think, enough masks to kind of hold us over for quite a while. I actually got some N95 masks shipped in today.
Oh,
so that's pretty good. I think the gowns are going to be the big concern, and from what I've talked to some other people, the supply chain on those is going to get really tricky pretty fast. So I think that's going to be our next hurdle, is to make sure we have enough gowns. I've actually found some reusable gowns that you can spray down in between. So hopefully those will come in the mail soon. It might be one of those situations where you order it and it's 5 years later before you get it, but that's the way it goes these days.
Yeah, I actually listened to a Facebook Live today that they were talking about some gowns that come from Sugarhouse / Midvale, Utah. And they're using, it's like boat type material. So it's like flexible and it like deflects all the water, and they're taking different orders. So maybe I'll drop that link later so you guys can like take a view at that company.
Nice.
It's called Sugarhouse something. Can't remember the exact name, but I'll drop it in there after we're done with this.
I would call it nautical by nature if I was to name that.
That's a pretty good name, because they said we saw that there was a need in, the healthcare community. This is what we were doing, and then that all stopped. And you know what they decided to do? Boom! Look, let's make gowns for healthcare workers. How amazing is that? Yeah.
I think it's amazing to see how so many companies have pivoted and done different stuff and stepped up. We have a local initiative that's called the RVA for Richmond, Virginia makers. And they just kind of turned on a dime and they started making face shields for healthcare workers. And there's a couple of 3D printing places locally, and they started making different stuff. And it's cool. I think it's really neat that people kind of think outside the box a little bit and can jump in and help out these days like that. It's pretty cool.
It's awesome to see like our community and everybody, when they get put in a hard spot, who rises to the occasion to help others.
Yeah.
I might say that Utah is the best at that. I don't know about Virginia. I'm a little biased, but I feel like Utah's really good at that.
I feel like Utah's got a lot of initiative to make things. I know I didn't realize what a creative place it was, and so many of these big tech companies are actually there, and there's a lot of smart people packed in one little spot. So I can definitely see that happening.
Agree with you. Thank you so much for the compliment. Okay, so what else is your office doing right now to kind of help your patients feel comfortable, for you guys to feel comfortable?
I think a lot of it is, it's the fear of the unknown. When you're, like I said before, if you're not in the office, you're kind of seeing stuff online. You're like, oh my gosh, this, that, and the other thing. And just getting back into it and actually talking to the patients really changes what you actually think. If you were to look at a lot of Facebook groups, you would think that the patients are not coming back and they're all scared and they don't want to do it. And we're just not finding that. We're finding that people really do want to get back to the office. Some people are scared, but a lot of people just are asking, what are we doing? they've obviously seen stuff on the news, and they're just asking what we're doing to keep them safe and keep ourselves safe. And a lot of times, once we tell them what we're doing, they're totally cool with it. We are trying to keep high risk people away. We have some people that were healthcare workers that are on the COVID unit, and that were like, you probably don't need your teeth cleaned right now. Let's wait until this calms down a little bit. Yeah. Some of our older people, we're trying to kind of stay away. It's just for fear of a possible transmission from somebody else. It's just too much of a risk in our eyes right now. What I'm thinking about doing is possibly doing some Saturday hours and just having some of the older people come in first thing in the morning and seeing them, kind of like they do for the stores, or if they need a crown or something like that, hop in for them and be able to do that. But we're still trying to just figure out our schedule, and we've got cleanings and a lot of elective stuff that we still have to schedule, and we're just trying to figure out where to put these people and how we're all going to do it.
Yeah, and how to balance I'm going to call it quick change, because you mentioned the dance earlier of switching your gown when you move from your operative work to your hygiene work.
Yeah.
That's a quick change in the hallway. Your assistants are there, you have your front office there, your hygienist, and we have to work as a team right now. Like, it is not the time for people to kind of play different, levels of this. We've got to work together to make sure we all make it through this, right?
Oh yeah. I've got one thing I did was put up a bunch of command hooks. I mean, you're going to have to hang stuff up everywhere. Yeah. So I've just put up as many command hooks as I could in different areas. So if you go into the break room, you can take all your stuff off and hang it here. We'll know that, hey, this is my Tuesday. Get up. This is my for stuff that we can reuse, and we actually need to hang up some more stuff. And it's funny too, because a lot of times in treatment planning and things like that, you're talking to them, you're trying to explain, you're trying to emote, and kind of build a story around what you're doing. And if this is all you see, that you can't really do that. And the first day wearing that, I was trying to talk to a patient, and I had to stop. I was like, I'm sorry, I can't catch my breath in this thing. So I feel like I'm trying to rush these words out, but these masks are getting me.
Yeah, actually, that brings up a really good question. Treatment planning. I don't like using the word selling, because if patients have something that's unhealthy, we need to repair it. How is that going with patients right now? Trying to talk to somebody when you're like this, and you're trying to tell them everything that they need to, the work that they need to have done is, you said your patients are doing good, but is it intimidating at all? Besides not being able to breathe, I don't know if I'm covering my sound for this. Sorry, everybody.
I had a patient today that I was talking to about some airway stuff, and a lot of times, anytime you talk about airway, it's going to be a longer process. If they have no idea of what it is, it's a big explanation right at the beginning, and that was one of the harder things with all this stuff, because really with like I said, the K95 mask, I can't breathe all that well in there, so I can't go on some big diatribe about how your airway is small. And so I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult. I am typically a more quiet person in there, so it's going to change my habits. I'm going to have to consciously be louder, just so my assistant can hear me, because now her ears are covered up and my mouth's covered up, and so yeah, we're going to have to be working as a team more and more, just because of the handicaps that are going to be put on us now. Yeah, but it's one of those things you just get up and do in the morning now.
Yeah, it's a challenge that we can adapt to. I never realized how often I read lips until everybody started wearing masks. And then I told myself, you can't hear anything, homegirl. Like, you got to yell when you're talking to somebody, because there's just that barrier there. And then when someone's talking to you, you're like, I'm sorry, you need to repeat that like a third or a fourth time. And that makes communication with patients a little bit more difficult, but everybody seems to be doing okay.
Yeah, it's and I have some assistants who prior they love to sit and talk with the patients, and I have to pull them out and say, our goal now is to like get these people in, do what we got to do, and get them back out the door, and not really linger all that much, because we've got some time constraints between each patient, and then two, you don't want them spewing whatever they might be spewing out. So it's been a little bit of a change for that, kind of me being the PPE czar and kind of enforcing some of these new guidelines. So I haven't been quite popular this week, but hopefully they'll forgive me at the end of it.
They will, for sure, because safety is more important than popularity.
That's what I always said in high school.
That's what we all said in high school, right? So I do have one random question. We had Dr. Snitzer on last week, and when she started back in the office, she made like a plan for her office where they had the sneeze guards up. They had like a group bulk PPE purchasing thing. They have patients wait in their cars. Is that something you guys are also doing in Virginia?
We are. We have. So when the patients get there, they have to call us, and we'll run up and we're taking their temperature right now, taking their temperature, screening them, and then coming down and just trying to lessen just the cross traffic of anybody coming in or coming out, and that's one of our biggest struggles with scheduling. After that, obviously we're at a slow start right now, but what do we do once things get humming and we get more people in there and doing that? It's going to be a highly orchestrated dance, I think. So we're trying to figure out how that's all going to work, and can we run on time? You know, can we do all this, and at the end of the day, we don't want to be 30-40 minutes behind for every patient and trying to rush people in. So it's going to be different, and it's something that I've told the front desk. You know, you may have to tell the patients. You know, we've had a lot of restrictions on us now that we haven't in the past. It might get to the point where it's the end of the day, and we might not have time for your appointment. We're sorry, but you might have to come back, and that's a hard thing to do when you've really focused on customer service and running on time previously. It's going to be a hard habit to break.
Yeah. And it's going to be a hard habit for those patients to break. That I feel like when I go to the doctor, my appointment's at 2:00. I never get brought back at 2:00. Not the dentist, doctor. 2:00, about 2:30. When I go to the dentist, it's 2:01. They're right there.
Yep.
Ready for you. Let's go. We are an on the clock industry where now we have to just teach our patients and educate them that, hey, your health is important. So we might not exactly be 2:01. It might be the 2:30, but we also have to provide quality work, and I'm sure that's exactly what you're running into.
Yeah, and it's hard. Some of the people that we've had to tell no, that's probably not a good idea for you to come in, or they understand, but you know they want to get their teeth cleaned too, and they want to get back on their schedule. So it's we tried to before this never to say no to anybody within reason, but unfortunately, we're having to say no to a lot of people that otherwise we wouldn't have had in the past.
Agreed with you. So is there any other words of advice you have for our Ultradent family, for all of our doctors watching? If you have any questions, you guys know, drop them in the comments. We'll be able to hear them, or not hear them, read them. We do have Miss Melanie Jones. Hey, Melanie. She said Silicon Slopes, which is in Lehi, Utah, for people who are watching that don't know. They've been helping moderate the virus here, which is actually a pretty cool thing. It looks like you have a question. Those glasses are back on. Do you want to read it?
I can't see it. Has Dr. Lipscomb changed to hygiene to hand scaling? Yes. We are doing.
Or is it protocol that has changed it to hand scaling?
It's protocol. I mean, just the general consensus is no ultrasonics right now until we kind of figure things out. I've heard some doctors are using ultrasonics themselves if they want to. Technically, I could if I wanted to. I probably wouldn't ask somebody else to do it. I hand scaled some people today. These little things can still work a little bit. So I mean, I've hand scaled some people today, but we are limiting ultrasonics and we are limiting the Prophy Cups. Or just if we have an assistant in there that can do some suction while we're doing the Prophy Cups or the polishing, then we'll do that. But yeah, for the time being, who knows what's going to be the the big change for that, or when that's going to be back allowed. I don't know. I've been told there's some studies coming out that may say that the aerosols are not as much as a concern as the contamination of the surface when the droplets fall. But who knows? I'm just a Joe Schmo from Virginia. I don't. I take the information as I get it.
That's kind of funny. You mentioned Prophy Cups, and I didn't come on here to talk about this, but I have to mention, have you heard about our sweep product that we have? It's a Sweep Prophy Cup, and as a hygienist, I think that it is the best thing.
Tell me more.
So this is nothing related to kind of what we're talking about except for the Prophy Cup part. It actually has a little brush at the bottom, and the cup spins and just snags that ropey saliva. It's kind of interesting. I'm wondering how it will do right now, if it will help or benefit people. I'm not sure. But like we said, the assistant's there to help you prophy, hand scaling. I know fatigue with that can, we kind of talked about earlier of why I'm not in the chair anymore, that wrist fatigue that's going on. But I might send you something after this about that sweep, because it might be a game changer right now.
That'd be good. Yeah, I mean, I've noticed we've used some of the implements, some of the suction implements in there to place in there. I find that and I've got a new headlight that's just pretty powerful, so I actually can see the spray. Now, just anecdotally, for me, using that suction device, I kind of like just the regular high-speed suction on there. It seems like it knocks it down more than some of those other ones. It depends on where you are in the mouth or where you're working in the mouth. So yeah. It's pretty interesting. Do I use filters in the operatories? Filters, air filters. We've got some HEPA filters going. I actually bought some HOCl solution, hypochlorous acid, I think it is. It's a weak acid made from salt water, and it's basically like a real weak chlorine. And it's a solution that you can spray. You can spray it on your skin. It's non-toxic. It doesn't hurt your skin. And people use it to disinfect. So I bought some of that because I saw a video on that. And I bought a fogger to put that stuff in to be able to use in between patients. It hasn't come in yet, but I have been spraying it. I do my ceremonial spray the ceiling area as we leave the operatory, just to make a nice mist in there. Who knows if it works? A lot of this is probably just theater that we're doing to make ourselves feel better. But who knows?
Who knows? We'll find out soon, we hope, right?
Yes, either good or bad, we'll find out whether I've stopped COVID in my office.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like we have another question. Do you pass your PPE costs on to your patients?
That's a question a lot of people have asked me in the past couple of days. I am probably not going to do it right now. I think some insurances, we talked to Teresa Duncan the other day in our group, and she was saying that a lot of Delta is one that came out and said they weren't going to pay for it. Some Deltas may. She said there was some Deltas in Connecticut, I believe, that were going to pay for it. I've heard mixed signals on Cigna and some of the other carriers or whether they would pay for it. For me right now, it's just it's an extra thing to do that I just don't really feel the need for right now. It's going to be hard to explain to patients. I think that's another. I've seen some Facebook posts from different groups on Facebook where people are upset about the extra charge. That's a fine dance to whether it's really a benefit or it's hurting the practice. So for me, I probably won't do it right now.
Jason, you're doing a lot of dancing. A quick change dance. Dancing, the PPE dancing.
My legs are moving akimbo underneath this screen right now, so it's a.
Great.
I'm doing the hot step underneath here. So.
That's perfect. All right. Looks like we don't have any other questions for right now. Now, you mentioned your podcast at the very beginning, Dental Hacks. What do you talk about in your podcast? Is it a weekly thing, a daily thing?
It's weekly. We've been doing it for 4 or 5 years now. It started out with myself and Dr. Alan Mead, who's up in Michigan. We were two guys who didn't know each other before that. We met on Facebook many years ago, and kind of struck up a friendship and started a podcast. And since then, we've talked to lots of different people within dentistry. We range all different types of topics. We're, I think, nearing in on 3 million downloads lifetime. So it's a lot of fun. We're kind of crazy, but we're interested in dentistry. We say a lot of stuff we probably shouldn't say, and get in trouble for some of it. But hey, that's what keeps it interesting. And then from that came the Dental Hacks Nation, which is a large Facebook group that we run, and also a large operation where people say a lot of stuff they shouldn't say, but still get some value out of it in dentistry. So it's a strange organization that we have going on.
That's pretty great. It looks like we have a few more things to talk about. So somebody said you made your sneeze guards with shower curtain rods?
I did. In one of my offices, I have a very large opening in the reception area, and I was wondering, I didn't know where to get one of those ones that I saw people have that they built that were nice, and I was kind of struggling on what to do to put it up in there. So I actually took two extendable shower curtain rods and extended it from the desk up to the ceiling on either side, and got a big piece of plexiglass from Lowe's and kind of attached it to those rods. I think it looked pretty nice. So everybody doubted that it was going to look professional, but I think it turned out okay. People haven't laughed at me too much. But
do you have a picture? I kind of want to see this.
I do have a picture somewhere. I'll have to post. I posted it in our group. I do have a picture. It was pretty exciting stuff. There it is. Let's see here.
Let's see. Go over. Come closer. You're perfect. Maybe we'll have you post it in the comments. It looks very colorful from here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it turned out pretty good. It's yeah, I do what I can.
It looks like a Mitanas. Does he use an ultraviolet germicidal light?
I've looked into it. I cannot find one. I've tried to buy one. Everything is either sold out or extremely more expensive than it used to be. And I've kind of come to the conclusion that I'm not going to go crazy and buy and spend $70 on something that used to be $5. I would probably like to use that. I actually talked to the HVAC guy to see about installing some of that in the HVAC system.
Yeah.
And he said they are all sold out and it's on back order, and so it would probably be September by the time they were able to get it and install it. So my options on that are kind of limited. So it's, with all this, I mean, we're limited to what we can get realistically, and to get back to work. If we were to wait on a lot of this stuff, I mean, there's no way we'd be back to work anytime soon.
Yeah, because if you had to wait all the way to September to even get this one thing.
Yeah, and I know some people near me haven't really got a lot of masks or anything yet too. So a lot of people are really lacking on the PPE. I've just been scouring the internet. Whenever I see something pop up that I can get it, I go after it. And I get really as much as I can because I know it's going to be in short supply before long. But I know some people really haven't gotten much or haven't been able to find any. So it's very limited. It's kind of hit and miss all over of who's got what. Yeah.
Everywhere. I know that a doctor last week said that they cannot find any plexiglass or sneeze guard, anything in the state of Washington. Like I mentioned before, I know like Colorado, they've been doing a lot of bulk ordering. So they're ordering like a ton at one time and then distributing that to all the dentists out there. So it seems like we all need to yet again come together, figure out how we can find one thing. If you find it, tell all of your friends.
I got mine at Lowe's before everything kind of started up, and I got the last piece of plexiglass at Lowe's. I'm sure that plexiglass had probably been sitting there for 3 years with nobody even thinking about it, and all of a sudden it's in short supply. So some of these little small little companies are going to be making good money here that have probably just been sitting on the stock forever.
So true. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Any last words? for the second time?
Look, actually, I had one more question. It looked like on there. Talk about your recommendation for hygiene contract and handbook. In years past, I've had a hygiene contract and handbook. We've had a regular handbook for our practice. Team roles and what they mean. To me, hygiene is a different animal, and actually do need, and it was recommended to me at the time, hygiene is a different animal and has a lot more things going on, and kind of needed its own little contract and book. They're the only other licensed practitioner in your practice besides like an associate from the Board of Dentistry. So sometimes there's different things that you gotta put in there, and expectations of professional capabilities, and sometimes a different pay, and the way that they're paid is different. So it's good to lay that out and just have your expectations and whatever you think about it laid out on paper, so everybody's on the same page, literally.
Did you have your hygienist sign that contract?
I did, and it's nothing crazy. It just says, this is what we expect, and this is what your pay is going to be, and this is how we'll calculate it. These are the actions that you're expected to perform. You obviously have your own license that you have to keep up and keep all the recommendations and mandates with that. It really just kind of lays it out on paper. A lot of stuff in dentistry, and a lot of times when people get in trouble, is when things are left unsaid and they're expected, but they're not written down on paper, and that's when you get burned. So sometimes it's nice to have this here and said, we both discussed this, you signed it. That's kind of the end of it. That's where you keep the hard feelings out of it, the he said, she said. When it's on paper like that, you both know what you each expect.
So true. I asked that definitely because I remember you said your wife is your hygienist.
I definitely have a contract with her. I'm not letting any of that slide.
You had a few contracts with her, probably.
And those are all unwritten, unfortunately. And brought up often.
True. A lot of addendums. Change.
Every day.
It looks like it says, is the contract handbook more important now in the pandemic era?
I think it's just been brought more into a focus. There's a lot of activity going on with hygienists and what they want and what they expect, and it just puts a more of a focus on it. There's been a lot of breakdown in the communication with a lot of offices, and it would have been better to have something written and kind of worked out ahead of time. Nobody really expected this to come like this, and obviously I never would have thought there was a day where we would have to be working Tuesday and then have to shut down Friday for 2 months, and barring anything else unforeseen. But now that's a consideration. Now that's hey, what do we do if this happens? And people are scrambling to figure out what to do with employment, what to do with unemployment. How long do I keep you on if this happens again? What about health insurance? All these different things which you're expected to pay. There's going to be a lot of conversations that are going to be need to laid out, and there's a very real possibility that this could happen again if this comes in a big second wave later on this year or next year, before we get a vaccine or some kind of effective medication coming out. This could definitely happen again, and we need to know what we're going to do if it does happen, because God only knows what the government is going to do with unemployment, or I don't know if they'll be doing another round of PPE or anything, or PPP, sorry. So yeah, it's good to have that talk and to have everything figured out.
I agree with you. I know a lot of people complained about 2019. And I posted a thing the other day that said, I think we all need to apologize for what we said about 2019, because 2020 has surpassed all of that.
Yeah, 2019 was a cakewalk compared to this. Hindsight is 2020.
I know, we're like 2020 vision, like here's the night. We're like, oh, hold on, yep. Actually, yep. No to all of that.
Well, and I've been through some tough times in my dental practice, and I think from tough times, you learn a lot.
True.
And I think those tough times have been a lot of the watershed moments where it's kind of made me do things that were right in my practice later on. So I think this is a big opportunity. If you recognize it, if you're just sitting there wallowing in your own problem, it's not going to help you. But this is a big time for people to recognize what was not working and what they need to do, and they need to sit up and take notice. And I think a lot of good will come from this when it all gets said and done.
Great. Well, thank you so much again. We appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Everybody with our Ultradent family, thanks again for joining us, and we'll be back in touch. We do have another Facebook Live coming to you Monday, and along with that, another Instagram Live too, so stay tuned.